Let me ask you something right away. How many times can a dead man come back before the truth finally buries him for good? Because if you thought Dexter Morgan escaped his past in Resurrection Season 1, you might want to sit down. Season 2 isn't just another round of blood slides and cover-ups. It could be the moment an OG loose end, one that's haunted this franchise since 2010, finally snaps back around Dexter's neck. And no, I'm not talking about Harrison Angela or even Batista. I'm talking about the ghost no one expected, Lumen Pierce. Now, I'll be honest with you, when Julia Stiles first showed up in Season 5, I thought, okay, here we go. Another random victim of the weak who'll either die tragically or disappear quietly. But Lumen didn't just disappear, she survived. She knew Dexter's secret, and he let her walk away. That's the thing nobody ever talks about. Dexter only lets a handful of people see who he really is and survive. That makes Lumen one of the most dangerous names in the entire Dexter universe. A living, breathing, forgotten time bomb. So let's do a little reality check. Dexter is alive, moving again, leaving a trail of suspicious corpses and unfinished business. Quinn is alive, angrier and more suspicious than ever, especially after Batista's fate. Harrison is alive, confused, still caught between his father's darkness and his own innocence. And then, somewhere out there, in the shadows of Miami, Lumen is alive. If you don't feel the weight of that, let me put it this way, she is the last unbroken mirror of who Dexter used to be, and she could destroy him without even trying. But before we dive into the forbidden secrets and the what-ifs of Lumen's return, let's rewind. Season 5 was messy. Let's not sugarcoat it. Dexter had just lost Rita, one of the most devastating moments in the series. And what did the writers do? They threw in Lumen, a victim of a grotesque torture ring who found herself bound to Dexter's dark code. Some fans loved it, some hated it, but everyone knew this. Julia Stiles gave that character something different. She wasn't a Deb. She wasn't a Rita. She wasn't a Hannah. She was the only one who truly shared the kill ritual with Dexter. She knew him in a way even Harrison might never understand. And then she left. No death, no blood trail, no justice. She simply walked away. Which begs the question, why bring her back now? Why after all these years? Why when Dexter's already skating on thin ice with Prater's vault and the NYPD breathing down his neck? Because, and here's the problem, Dexter. Resurrection cannot keep building new enemies forever without circling back to the ghosts he left behind. Season 1 already teased us with Batista, with Harrison's betrayal, with echoes of Deb. But Season 2, this is where old wounds reopen. This is where Quinn, the one man who never trusted Dexter fully, could track down the one person who once knew the full horrifying truth. And imagine that reunion Quinn, who once loved Deborah, staring across the table at Lumen, the woman who shared Dexter's kill ritual. Now, I've got a theory, and call me crazy, but I don't think Dexter fans are ready for what's coming. Because if Lumen resurfaces, it won't just be a nostalgic cameo, it'll be a dagger aimed right at the heart of Dexter's new double life. Think about it. What if Quinn flips the script? What if instead of chasing Dexter blindly, he uses Lumen as bait? What if Lumen, racked with guilt and memories, decides to warn Dexter, and in doing so, leads Quinn straight to him? And here's the chilling part. You and I both know Dexter has a rule. No loose ends. He's lived by it since Season 1. But if Lumen comes back, Dexter faces an impossible choice. The woman who once made him human might now have to die by his hands. Do you see the looping horror here? That's the curse of Dexter. Every time he thinks he's escaped, the past doesn't just catch up, it sharpens its teeth. And the question that keeps me awake is this: will Season 2 finally force Dexter to kill the one person he spared? But hold on, because this is where it gets really dark. Lumen isn't just a character, she's a secret, a forbidden knowledge buried in Dexter's history that most casual fans have forgotten. And shows don't resurrect secrets like that unless they're ready to explode. If Quinn is the hand pulling the thread, Lumen is the unraveling fabric. And by the time Season 2 ends, Dexter may not just be fighting the police, his son, or his demons. He might be fighting the consequences of the one mercy he ever showed. And listen, I know some of you are yelling at your screens right now. James, come on, they're not bringing Lumen back. That's wishful thinking. But ask yourself, why did Resurrection Season 1 deliberately leave so many doors cracked open? Why mention Batista? Why keep Angela alive? Why tease Harrison's independence? If not to remind us that Dexter's story is not finished. Julia Stiles is still active in Hollywood. She's still sharp, still capable of slipping back into that role. And the writers, they know fan service when they see it. They know what full circle storytelling looks like. And if you think I'm exaggerating, tell me this: who else could tie together Quinn's suspicion, Dexter's guilt, and the lingering mystery of Season 5 in one single return? Nobody. Only Lumen. So let me throw this back to you, because this is Björk Dublin, and we don't just talk, we dissect. If you had to bet, does Lumen come back as an ally, warning Dexter, standing beside him like she once did? Or does she come back as his ultimate undoing, the one person who knew the truth and finally couldn't stay silent? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because trust me, I'll be reading them all. And before we go further into the hidden angles, the forbidden loops, and the bloodstained secrets that Season 2 might crack open, do me one thing, hit that subscribe button right now. Because if you're here, you're one of the few who still remember the forgotten truths of Dexter, and we're going to keep peeling back every layer together. Here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Joey Quinn has always been the cockroach of Dexter. He's survived every storyline, every shift in the series, and somehow always ends up with his nose just inches away from the truth. And now in Resurrection Season 2, it feels inevitable. Quinn is the man who will finally press on the old wound. And what's under that scar? You guessed it, Lumen Pierce. Let's rewind. Back in Season 5, Quinn already smelled blood. He suspected Dexter Rita's murder. He hired Stan Liddy to dig into him. And what did he find? Lumen, living in Dexter's house. No explanation, no logical reason, just a survivor tied inexplicably to a man already surrounded by death. Quinn dropped the investigation back then, but why? Because Deborah was in his ear, pulling him away, distracting him, saving Dexter by accident. But Deborah's gone. Batista's gone. Quinn has no anchor left. Which means Season 2 is the perfect storm suspicion with no safety net. Now imagine Quinn putting those puzzle pieces back together. He hears whispers about the Bay Harbor butcher. He learns Batista died chasing Dexter. He remembers Lumen, the woman who once slipped away. And here's where it gets deliciously dangerous. He tracks her down. Think about that reunion. A cop who's been circling Dexter for over a decade meets the one woman who could confirm everything. That's not just drama. That's dynamite waiting to blow. And don't forget, Lumen isn't just a witness. She's an accomplice. She helped Dexter kill. She saw him, the real him, and didn't flinch. That makes her testimony the most damning in the entire franchise. But here's the twist. Would she testify against him? Or would she, out of some warped loyalty, try to protect him? That's the question that makes her return so irresistible. But let me put a forbidden card on the table. Dexter's code, the sacred rule Harry drilled into him, was never just about killing killers. It was about control, about eliminating risks. And if Lumen returns, Dexter faces a code-breaking paradox. Do you kill the one person you once spared? Do you erase the one living witness who proved you could be human? That's not just a moral dilemma. That's the collapse of Dexter's entire system. And don't underestimate Quinn in this equation, because as much as people clown on him, as much as he's been the butt of jokes, he's dangerous when he's focused. And if Quinn is hunting Dexter in New York, he's not just looking for evidence. He's looking for closure. Deb is dead. Batista is dead. Quinn has nothing left to lose. And a man with nothing left to lose. That's the kind of man who burns the world down to get to the truth. Let me ask you, can you picture the face-off? Dexter versus Quinn. One the predator, the other the pest, who won't go away. But now add Lumen standing between them. Is she the shield who protects Dexter, or the knife Quinn uses to finally cut him open? That triangle, Dexter, Quinn, Lumen, is the perfect storm the writers have been holding onto for years. And here's where my theory takes a darker turn. What if Lumen isn't just a loose end? What if she's the key to Harrison's storyline too? Think about it. Harrison knows part of the truth. He knows his dad is a killer. But what he doesn't know, what nobody told him, is that his father once shared that darkness with someone else. Imagine Harrison meeting Lumen. Imagine him realizing he wasn't the first to walk in Dexter's shadows. The betrayal, the confusion, the rage, it would rip Harrison apart. And that, my friends, is how you set up a finale worthy of Resurrection. But don't get too comfortable, because I'm about to drop the real forbidden knowledge. The Dexter writers have always played with symmetry. Season 4 gave us Rita's death. Season 5 gave us Lumen. Season 6 gave us Deborah's discovery. Each cycle tied one season to the last. And if Resurrection is truly about rebirth, about old sins returning, then Lumen isn't just a possibility. She's an inevitability. The writers can't resist that symmetry. Dexter spared her once. Season 2 is where the universe asks him to pay for it. And let's not pretend Julia Stiles is too busy. She's done The Lake Hustlers, Jason Bourne. She's still active, still sharp, and you know Showtime would love the headlines. Julia Stiles returns as Lumen in Dexter Resurrection. That's the kind of buzz that sells subscriptions overnight. But here's the fun part. I don't think Showtime will play it safe. I don't think Lumen shows up just to reminisce. If she comes back, it's going to hurt. Maybe she warns Dexter and dies for it. Maybe she betrays him to Quinn. Maybe Dexter kills her to keep the secret buried. No matter how you slice it, her return is the kind of move that redefines a season. Now, let me check in with you directly, because I want to know where you stand. If Lumen comes back, do you want her to be an ally or an enemy? Should she pick up a knife and join Dexter one last time? Or should she be the final nail in his coffin, the ghost of Season 5 coming back to finish what Rita's blood started? Drop your votes in the comments, I'll tally them up and see if this fanbase is rooting for redemption or revenge. And listen, I'll be real with you. When Season 5 aired, I wasn't Lumen's biggest fan. I thought it was messy, I thought it was rushed. But maybe that's exactly why her return now would be so poetic. The mess becomes the masterpiece. The forgotten arc becomes the finale. And maybe, just maybe, the loose end becomes the noose. You see the loop, right? The past isn't just coming back. It's circling, tightening, squeezing. And Dexter, he's running out of air.